Hi, today we're going to talk about percent complete accounting, specifically how under and over billings work and how the calculation flows through to your income statement. This is a tough subject, so let's use a single job as an example, and I'll show you how the under over billing calculation smooths out the ups and downs in gross margin from one month to the next based on how much you have in cost and how much you have in billings. We'll also look at what happens when a job makes less than the estimate, and I'll show you what happens when a job makes more than the estimate. Also, at the end, I'll tell you the one key area you need to focus on each month when you're doing your WIP. So grab a copy of your WIP and let's dive in.
Let's walk through a simple example using one job just to make it easy on a job schedule, and then show how, as the job progresses, how that translates into the income statement and revenue, direct costs, and gross margin, and then show what happens if there's a change in the estimated cost or the estimated margin at the end of the job. So for this example, we've got a job, and we're only going to do one to make it simple because this can get away from you real quick. $1 million contract, 880,000 in cost. So we think we bid the job, we're setting it up. We think it's going to make 12%. And so month one goes by. We put in current year costs of $50,000 because the job's just starting out. It's just getting out of the ground. We billed 115, so we got to bill a little more. As a percent complete, we're now about 6% complete, which is simply the 50,000 divided by the estimated cost. So we get to recognize that proportion or portion of the estimated cost complete. That means we get to pick up 5.7% of this gross margin. So what does that mean? Well, over here on the P&L, here's our revenue. So that's 115,000. That's what we billed. I'm going to come back to this one in just a second. There's our direct costs. So that's 50,000. That's what we incurred. Now let's just say we don't have an under over billing and all we did was post billings and post cost. That means we get 115,000 in revenue minus 50,000 in direct costs. Well, that says, wow, we made 65,000 or 57% margin for the month one. That'd be fantastic, but we know we only bid the job to make 12. So what we do where that comes in is we fix it with under over billings. Over here in billings in excess, we recognize 56,000. We billed 115. That means we overbilled by 58. So all we're doing with this adjustment is taking that off the P&L because we can only make 12%. We can't make 57% margin on a job that we think is only going to make 12. Wish it worked that way, but that's what this does, is smooth that out. So let's go to month two. So month two, we still think the job contract's going to be $1 million. The estimated cost is still 880,000. We're still projecting 12% margin. Now we get more costs, so we get 500,000 in cost job to date. So we went from 50,000 to 500,000 by month two. And let's say we went from billing 115,000 to 250,000. So we're now, according to this estimate and this amount of cost, we're about 57% complete. So that means we get to recognize 57%, 56.8% of the contract amount. So you can see we get recognized revenue of 568. Well, we only billed 250. So whereas we were overbilled last month, we're now underbilled. So we put more cost in than we billed. You can see over here in the P&L side of things, we've got revenue of 250,000. Again, I'm going to skip over under. We got direct cost of 500,000. Well, if we just said, we're not going to do over under billings, well, that means we went from making 57% margin last month. Now all of a sudden we're losing 100%. Well, we know that's not right because, again, the job is going to make 12%. So as long as that's our good estimate and we believe it, well, we need to fix that with the under over. So this is where the $300,000 of underbillings gets put back on the P&L to make us show or earn 12% gross margin. So that's all fine and good. Let's go to month three. So month three, we went from a total of $500,000 in costs. Let's say we went up to $750,000. Well, as of month 2, we had billed 250, so we bill a little more. So again, we are getting to 85% complete, which is total cost to date divided by total estimate. So we're still at an estimated cost of 880,000. That means we get to again recognize this percentage of the contract, and as a result, this much, that percentage of the margin. So revenue recognized is simply contract times percent complete. So we get to recognize 852,000. Well, we only billed 300,000, so we are again underbilled. Now, I'm going to come back to that. So we go back to the P&L, and again, we've got revenue or billings of 300,000. We tied that out. We've got direct costs of 750,000. We tied that out. The under over adjustment, because we have more costs and billings, is adding 552,000 of earned revenue to get us back again to a 12% margin. So all we're doing on the P&L is matching what the job shows for estimated margin. So that's all fine and good from our standpoint. Atlas, when we see an 85% complete job, actually anything over it's 2/3, and you get substantially underbilled, to us that's a big red flag. If your billings are not keeping pace with your costs, a lot of times that means there's profit fade out there. It's just hiding because we have let it be underbilled, but we have not adjusted our estimated cost. And so let's go to month 4. And let's say at this point, PM comes in and says, look, well, you get your cost posted. Now we went from 750 to 900,000. Let's just say we had 880. Let's put this back. We are back at 880,000 in cost for an estimate, but the job has 900,000 in cost that actually came in, or 102% complete. That you can't go more than the contract. So you can't be 102% complete, because what that would mean is you recognized $1,022,000 in revenue, but our contract's only $1 million. So this formula says, well, you're underbilled. You're underbilled by 222,000 because you billed 800. You had cost of 900. Your estimate was 880. So over here on the P&L, let's play pretend and say we didn't notice. So we didn't pay any attention to this percent complete. We book our revenue job to date or year to date on the P&L. We've got 800,000. We've got direct cost of 900,000. Well, if we never adjust this 880 for whatever reason, and we don't pay attention to this percent complete, well, the formula says, okay, well, you're still going to make 12% on this job because this is what you plugged in. I need to accrue some more underbillings to get you to 12%. So this looks like, well, we're doing great. We're killing it. We're making 12%. This job's nearly done. You look at this and think, oh, I don't know what that is, but we must be doing okay. Well, and then the PM comes in and says, well, I messed up, or we blew the bid, or something's wrong. So estimated cost is actually 950,000, let's just say. So he comes in and he writes up his cost, writes down his margin, and now the job's going to make 5%. So what happens is this underbilling accounts for that as well. So it says, okay, well, you're based on 900,000 in total cost on an estimate of 950, you're 95% complete. So we fixed the 102% complete error. And as a result, our underbillings went down. It's correct. But over on the P&L, we thought we were making 12% margin, and we were, up until we realized there's an error in the job. And now the P&L goes down from 12% margin to 5%. So all this under over adjustment does is make sure your P&L is tracking with what your job is projected to do. So on the other side, let's just say they came in and said, well, the job's actually doing better. It's only going to take 750 and we're done. So at this point, you're 100% complete. Estimated cost is what you ended the job with. So we were at 12% prior months. We wrote the job up at the end to 25% margin. So under over adjustment you can see right here, we're getting ready to close it out. We booked the over under, and now the company shows that the P&L is making 25%. So this is really just the end result of keeping good, accurate estimated cost. So if you end up in a situation where your jobs are trucking along and you think you're making 12% or whatever you bid them at, and then your P&L is fading, well, what the remedy is go back and look at your estimated cost, because either you've got P&L, or the PM's not recognizing that there's a problem in the job, or it's closed jobs and you've got costs coming in after they come off the whip, or costs are incorrect. And the end result is really, you need to be focused on what's the estimated cost to complete, and is that accurate? Because if your jobs are accurate, then as a result, your P&L is going to be accurate, and it's going to reflect whatever your jobs show for gross profit. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer. I will leave you with that, and see you next time. Thanks.